All right, guys, today we're talking about scale factors. The last couple of days we've been talking about similarity and the properties of those. In particular, if two shapes are similar, they have corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional. Today we're going to talk about some of the proportional stuff and as it applies to scale factors. Okay? Scale factors. A scale factor is a value that is multiplied to create a smaller or larger image. Okay? Scale factor is a value that is multiplied to create a smaller or larger image. Okay? So for example, you guys have seen toy cars, right? I'm just going to draw a quick toy car. Not very great, I know. But you have a toy car, okay? This toy car is based off of an actual regular size vehicle. Now, to get from that toy's dimensions to the actual car's dimensions, you use what is called a scale factor, okay? If you ever look on the packaging, it says that it is a scale model, okay? That simply means that the dimensions, like all the measurements of the actual car, were scaled down by using a scale factor, okay? They get the dimensions of that toy car by using the actual measurements of the full-size car, okay? So, before we get into any of those examples, we need to talk about scale factors, okay? There's two different types, okay? One that creates a larger image and ones that create a smaller image, okay? So, if you want a scale factor and you want to get larger, okay, to create a larger image, your scale factor, I'm just going to put SF for scale factor. If you see SF, that simply means scale factor. I just don't want to write the entire word out. So the scale factor must be larger than 1. Okay, that's what that means. The scale factor must be bigger than 1. If your scale factor is over 1, your image will get bigger. Okay, so for example, 2 will create a larger image. 1.7 will create a larger image, all because it's greater than 1. Okay? 17, 27, 34, whatever. If your scale factor is greater than 1, if your scale factor is greater than 1, your image, your new image, will become larger. To create a smaller image, it's a little bit different. Okay? I'm going to write this out. It's going to look confusing. That's fine. I'll explain it. So to create a smaller image, your scale factor must be less than 1 and greater than 0. Okay, your scale factor must be less than 1 and greater than 0. So ask yourself, what kind of numbers lie between 0 and 1? Okay, so the values that lie between 0 and 1 are your fractions and decimals less than 1. Okay, so the numbers between 0 and 1, those will create a smaller image. So a couple examples. 0.7, 2/3, 0.42. Okay, less than 1, but greater than 0. Okay, if your scale factor is between 0 and 1, your new image will become smaller. One thing when dealing with scale factors, you can never have a negative scale factor. Okay, you don't ever want to have a negative scale factor. If your scale factor ends up being negative, you've done something wrong. Okay? You can have a scale factor that's greater than 1 or a scale factor that is between 0 and 1. Okay, again, those are just fractions and decimals. And the scale factors greater than 1 are just any number greater than 1, any number bigger than 1. All right. Now, to use a scale factor, all you're going to do is you are going to multiply the old values. You're going to multiply the old values by the scale factor. Multiply the old values by the scale factor to create the new values. Very important. You are going to multiply your old values by the scale factor to create the new values. Scale factor, the word factor simply means you're going to multiply. So when you're using a scale factor to create new images, you have to multiply to get those new images. Okay, so for example, let's say we have this triangle here, and we have a scale factor, let's go put SF, a scale factor of 5. Okay? A scale factor of 5. So we're going to take this image here and create a new image with a scale factor of 5. Sorry guys if the glare is in the way, but that says a scale factor of 5. So first thing we should be thinking, if your scale factor is 5, it's greater than 1. So that means my new image will be bigger in value than the last image. Okay, so your new image is going to be bigger than your original image. Now, I'm not going to draw it to scale. I just want you to understand how we get to the new values. Okay? So, I know that to create the bigger or the new image, I'm going to take these measurements and multiply by my scale factor. Okay? So, to create the new image, okay, I'm going to take these sides and multiply by the scale factor. Okay, so to get this corresponding side, I'm going to take my measurement here and multiply by the scale factor, which should give you a side length of 15. All right, now I'm going to look at this side. Okay, to get the corresponding side, I'm going to take the original value and multiply by the scale factor. Okay, that's going to give me a value of 25. And then to get that last measurement, I'm just going to take the original one and I'm going to multiply by the scale factor. So now you have your new values, which are 5 times bigger than the original. Okay? And I'm going to give you a couple formulas here in a second that'll help you out so it's not as difficult. But main thing, again, when you're dealing with scale factors, it means you have a similar shape. Okay? So these two shapes are going to be similar, which means you have to know what the corresponding sides are. I know I didn't give you angles right now, that's fine. I just want to illustrate how to use the scale factor. Okay? So again, real quick, I'm going to write down a formula for you using a scale factor. Okay? So, if you want to get the new image, you're going to take your scale factor and multiply it by the old. Okay? To get a new shape, you're going to take your old shape and multiply by the scale factor. Okay? All right. Now, let's calculate a scale factor. To calculate a scale factor, you just go backwards from what you just did. So to calculate scale factors, there's a real simple, easy formula I use every year. Okay? So, to find a scale factor, you're going to take your all your new images, and divide it by the original. Okay? To calculate your scale factor, take your new image or your new measurements and divide by the original. We're going to do a couple examples, so don't freak out yet. To calculate a scale factor, okay, because your work at the end of the week is going to have you ask you to calculate the scale factors of the images. Okay, so to calculate a scale factor, take your new and divide by the original. Okay? So the question might come up, how do you know which one's the old one and which one's the new one? Okay, so let's say you're given two shapes. I'm going to use kind of the same examples, but sorry about that, guys. My board's acting up. 3, 4, and 5. Okay? And we're going to call it A, B, C. And then we have another shape over here with sides 9, 12, and 15. And we're going to call it A prime, B prime, and C prime. Well, it's not supposed to be there, sorry. Okay, so if you notice when I was writing the new angles, okay, I said a little something called prime and I put a little apostrophe. Okay, if you see the apostrophe, that means it is the new shape. Okay, so the old one and the new one, okay, the new one will typically have that little apostrophe mark, unless it tells you you're going from this shape to another shape. Okay, but if you see that prime mark, that apostrophe, that means that is your new shape. All right, so what I like to do is right off the bat, if I know I've got a new and an old shape, I like to go ahead and call them old and new. So we've got our old one and we've got our new one. If they don't give you the prime, typically, not always, the old one's on the left and the new one's on the right. If they don't explicitly tell you which one's old and new. But typically you work left to right like a book. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to calculate the scale factor. I want to know how you get from here to here. You're going to have to use some kind of scale factor to get from your old one to your new one. Okay? Now, to calculate the scale factor, we're going to use our formula. Take the new measurement and divide by the old measurement. Okay, take your new measurement, divide by the old. Okay, so before you can do that, though, you need to determine which sides are corresponding. And I know there wasn't a math sentence given, and that's my fault, I apologize. But again, there's usually going to be a math sentence given, and that'll also help you determine which angles and sides correspond to each other. But right now, for this purpose, just trust that these two are similar shapes. Okay, so to do this, we have to find two corresponding sides that both have values. Well, we can use any one because all the sides have values. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose these two sides here. Okay, they are corresponding, AB corresponds to A prime, B prime. They're the same size, just on different shapes. So to calculate your scale factor, we're going to take that new measurement and divide it by the old measurement. Okay, so to calculate that scale factor, we're going to take our new measurement, so the new shape, which is 12, and you're going to divide by the old shape. So 12 divided by 4 should give you 3. So the scale factor from the old shape to the new shape is 3. Now you should start thinking about that just to make sure. The scale factor is 3, so it means it's greater than 1, which means your values should have gotten larger. If you look, 4 to 12, it got larger. 3 to 9 got larger. 5 to 15, it got larger. And if you take a second just to test it, every time you divide the new by the old, you should get the same answer. Okay? To calculate a scale factor, take your new side and divide it by the old side, or the new value and divide it by the old value. Okay? Scale factors are not super complicated. Okay? The main thing we have to know is if you're calculating a scale factor, take your new value and divide it by the old. If you end up with a scale factor that is bigger than 1, your new shape should have bigger values than the old one. If your scale factor is between 0 and 1, then your shape should get smaller. The value should get smaller. Okay? All right. That's pretty much all we were going to do today. I did it really fast. I apologize. Take the time to pause, rewind, do whatever you need to do. If you have any problems or questions, email me. Okay, I will answer anything I can. You are getting work tomorrow. I'm going to teach tomorrow, so make sure you're looking out for the videos. Again, problems or questions, please email me, and I will do my best to answer you as soon as possible. Adios, amigos.